Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ask YP Now show. Now, this is a show focused on positive living, work-life balance, living with passion, success in your life, in your business, and importantly, making the world a better place. And we have with us here a special guest all the way from,
Bellingham, Washington.
okay, and we've got here with us Michael. Okay, so Michael, we'll spend 2 to 3 minutes to introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, YP, I really appreciate you having me on your show today, and hopefully we can have some fun and help educate some of your listeners.
Sure, we will.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so a little bit about me. I started my first business, Noggin Branding, which is a full marketing and advertising agency, about 11 years ago. And about 6 years ago, I was able to pivot and start building this new type of network, which is an international finance network that I now call Noggin Finance. And we do worldwide commercial loans for just about most businesses that have been in business, say 2 to 3 years, and do maybe $5 million internationally a year in revenue. We're able to offer different types of business loans and assistance to any type of services they might need to help the growth and ongoing support of their business. And then also, I love to ski, mountain bike, and do a lot of photography outside.
So you love adventures, isn't it? What's the most exciting adventure sport that you've ever undertaken?
Well, I do something kind of newer. Maybe some people have heard about it, but it's electric unicycle riding. And it's
Okay.
a one-wheeled device that has got a gyro in the motor. And so
Uh-huh.
you lean forward, you go fast, you lean back, and you brake. And it goes about 40 miles an hour and can go about 80 miles on a charge. So it's a really fun new way to
Wow,
explore.
wow.
So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's good fun. Have you ever done bungee jumping?
No, I'm a little afraid to do that one. So skydiving and bungee jumping I have not done yet. So
Yeah. And the insurance doesn't cover that. So you better, we need you
yeah,
in this world, so you better stay safe, okay?
got to protect the noggin a little longer.
Yeah. So Michael, obviously you are in the business world. There's a lot of fear and doom, out there. People are saying that the economy is tough. What are your thoughts? Is it still possible for a business owner to grow their business right now
I do
globally?
I
Yeah.
dear I do hear the doom and gloom situation quite a bit. And honestly, I started my business again 11 years ago, and that was actually during the '08 and '09 crash. And so
Mm,
I saw it actually as a gigantic opportunity, as well as then all of the clients that I worked with during, or I should say post that '08 and '09 crash. And so now that, the economy, the interest rates are rising and businesses are kind of trying to keep more cash on hand, I would say that there's still a gigantic opportunity for new startups to go out and
mhm.
build a service or a product that's relevant to specific industries, and people will need them during even a pandemic or not. So it's really creating the brand, the business, and advertising and placing yourself in a position so people can find and purchase this service or product that you're providing. Even though people say there's not as much money, it's harder to get in front of businesses, you really have to use your phone, your social media, be very creative with the ways that you're reaching out to businesses or trying to acquire new businesses by doing sales and advertising techniques.
Michael, I'm going to ask you something that's pretty interesting. Okay, they say that every time there is a um, challenging times, every time there is something like the COVID,
Yeah.
a worldwide challenge in any way, this is where new paradigms are made, new powers are formed,
Yep.
new opportunities are there. So I've got a friend who tell me that right now, in the old days it was the big eat small. When you got more resources, you're gonna swallow your smaller competitors. But now it is the quick eat the slow, okay, or the fast eat the slow. Meaning that if you're innovative, if you could think out of the box, you
Yep.
find more innovative, more technology driven solutions. You're
Mhm.
able to find yourself a bigger niche in the business. Can you speak a bit more into that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's, It's interesting because say that, you want to be a real estate agent or a new insurance agency owner or a social media marketer as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is proven models for these business owners, right? Pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and now post-pandemic, or any type of economic situation. Now that there's all of these models, you can see how people accelerate themselves in certain spaces, whether they're the insurance agent, the real estate agent, or the new marketing owner. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the people that maybe don't push as hard. They don't do the advertising and sales approaches as maybe efficiently, let's just say, or they don't have the desire to grow a $20 million business. Maybe they're really happy making $200,000 a year
Okay.
and not having a boss to call, and be reliable on their staff and their teams and, producing and executing on certain dates and times. Now, if you're providing a business and you're offering a service and a product, you're also going to have timelines and deadlines and all these things showing up. And oh, by the way, the holidays are usually the busiest time of the year for any type of business. So if you think you might get a holiday and you're going to vacation for 4 months, it's not really realistic unless you watch the people that do it successfully and you see the automations, the marketing, the teams they've built, and the strategies they've put in place. So I would say there's enough out there to educate yourself, and you can position yourself to be slow, medium, or fast. And I don't think,
Okay.
honestly, the economy really matters on that. I think it's people's work ethic and how creative they are with their business and their strategies.
Good, good. So, obviously you're sharing that there are opportunities to grow a business, and every time you grow a business, you go into expansion or put it on a growth curve, we need capital, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is it a fact or is it a myth that, the source of funds have all dried up? I know this is a loaded question.
It's somewhat loaded, but as you're seeing in the United States here, and I'm sure other countries, their interest rates and certain banks are tightening their belts a little bit, and they don't have as
Okay.
much cash to possibly lend right now. A lot of companies, a lot of financiers, a lot of banks, capital partners, they're really looking at strategic investments, strategic loans that they can offer. And so I would say that maybe some sources it might seem like they've dried up. A lot of commercial banks, a lot of credit unions, community type banking organizations, some of those have obviously slowed down in their lending and their financing departments. But I think that people will be refinancing maybe some of these cars they've purchased during the pandemic. Maybe some of the homes they'll be refinancing because they might need more cash on hand because those interest rates and maybe those monthly payments might be going up. So it's something to be aware of.
Okay. So you're mentioning that there are sources of funds available, but they are more
Absolutely.
strategic. Yeah.
They're
So
they're more
what are
strategic.
the sorry?
They're more strategic in the way that they're lending. But again,
Okay.
if you get on the phone and you need funding, there are lots of sources providing very deep amounts of funds if you can apply and find the right sources to accommodate the needs at that time.
Yeah. So Michael, I'm sure the listeners out there listening, and by the way, listeners, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whether you're joining us live or you're listening to a recording of this show, this is a very, very important episode because it talks about the lifeblood of all businesses, your money, your cash flow, things that keep you alive and also help you expand. Okay. So Michael, so when you look at the word strategic, some of the listeners here could be a bit frightened. Oh, gee, are they going to scrutinize my accounts more deeply? Have I got to have this, the next wonder business in the world before I can get funds? Or is it more, down to earth? What are the things these companies are looking for? Are these finance companies are looking
So I'll be very honest. We manage 1,500 financial institution relationships.
Wow.
So all of them have a different appetite versus risk analysis that they analyze. And so me as this, network analyst, let's say, I have to find or hear the story of all of these leads coming in. And then I'm basically pre-qualifying them to fit them in the best pie mold to accommodate them for what they need at that time. So whether that's a $2 million loan, a $20 million loan, or a $250 million loan or more, I have this kind of an accordion effect where by hearing their story, seeing the forms that they've filled out so I can learn more about what the business request is, the amounts, what collateral they might be willing to put up, how long they've been in business, how much revenue they've done. Those kinds of performance indicators are how our financial analysts are analyzing whether or not to loan those funds or not, and at certain interest rates and at certain terms. So right now, you might see shorter terms offered with higher interest rates, depending on the lender and the product. So again, these institutions might be tightening up. But again, if you make a few calls and you work with maybe some consultants, some profit analysts, they're able to reduce debt, consolidate any business debts or anything like that, and really help you get then hopefully approved for a loan if you, for some odd reason, don't get approved currently.
Okay, so the two questions come to mind. The first one is an obvious, something obvious. Can you speak into, the advantage of using somebody like you, to prepare the, I would say, the paperwork, the application, to do the right sort of reports that the bank, that the different banks will need, versus, going straight to the bank and say, hey, bank, I want to borrow some money from you. Can you speak into the two different scenarios and why the first scenario works so much better? Yeah.
So, and so what was the first scenario? Sorry, just to clarify.
The first scenario is that they come to somebody, a consultant like yourself, who knows the different banks, what they're looking for, and able to prepare the paperwork according to what the bank needs. I thought that's common sense,
Yeah. So the reason someone would come to me maybe versus a traditional bank would be due to the access of banks that we work with. So take the current customer and they walk into their local bank. They've been, maybe banking with that bank for their business 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years. That bank only has so much money available. And so again, due to the size of that bank, depending on how much assets they have or how much cash they're willing to loan out at this time, they might not be able to offer as much as maybe our network. So our network is very unique. We don't work with predatory lenders. We don't work with the companies that call you direct.
Okay.
I get about 100 calls a day, and I'm the financing guy. But if people actually read what we do, they'd realize that. So in this space, what we do is we're trying to position, these lenders, these customers, for the best fit for the customer at the time. And so the reason someone would come to me is I'm able to hear their story, maybe offer more of assistance and resources than maybe the banker has time for or is even knowledgeable on or has time for, because they're an hourly worker most of the time or salaried. And so for me, someone coming to a consultant, I might know what certain banks are looking for, and I might be able to position that. Someone might have gotten maybe a previous quote at their bank with certain terms and rates offered. They might be able to come to us and get another quote, and we might be able to offer maybe a larger amount, better terms, and better interest rates than their own bank even offered. Again, due to the size of our network and who we can potentially get it quoted from. So those are a couple of the benefits. Another benefit is a lot of the people that we work with, we're hearing a lot of lenders right now are doing 65, 80, 90% of the loan. We're doing 100% of the loan due to the network that we're working with. So as I was building this network and vetting our partners and creating these very unique contracts to do this type of offering, it took 6 years to find these 1,500 global partners that are not predatory, that do the 100% loan. And we have a pretty good low barrier of entry to help almost any type of business.
Okay.
We even work with startups that are pre-revenue, and we can help do startup fundraising.
Okay. Wow.
So we do the venture capital side as well, angel, investments. We can do seed rounds, A, B, however the business is structured or what rounds they actually need. but we can help in that process. We work with the consultants, the strategists, the business plan writers, as well as the financing plan experts, and they can position that business to get that larger loan. And so we have those resources as well, not just we're a network of banks that you can come and, try and get more access to money from. So we also have internal resources through our network where if someone says, oh, by the way, we're willing to, meet with a consultant, maybe work on some debt consolidation and try and grow our business for 3 months, 6 months, then we'll come back, then we can actually get that loan. And then we can really take off on a rocket ship with our business strategy.
Wow.
So we have a few different bullet points in that. So
yeah. So Michael, just listening to this, I'm already seeing the the wisdom of getting a more prepared application, tapping into your what do you call that, the expertise, the consultants that you have. Because if you think about job application, just think about simple job application, sending one piece of paper with the bullet points of what you've done versus a professionally written resume, that would determine whether you get a job or not. And sometimes it's not the quality, it's how you present it or you market it.
It is. Yep. Yeah. And so, if you know what banks are looking for and they, are wanting to see, how much money you've made and how much cash you have on hand and how much debt, things like that. If you can be clear and honest up front, these financiers, they're going to see this immediately. So if you can be honest with me, I can get you the best introduction at that time and position it with the conversation, the documentation, the pitch deck, all of the, additional resources to make that business look, as best it can and hopefully get the funding it needs.
So, wow, you even help them do the pitch deck?
Absolutely. That's
it reminds me of like a Shark Tank experience.
We try because, again, that's a very, that's a global watched show. And then there's I think the Lion's Den or some other European version of that. And these are big shows. And so we're taking that model and we're trying to help the everyday, mom and pop shop that doesn't know how to go and do this. Here's an interesting stat. Out of 100 businesses that, this is global stats. Out of 100 businesses, they say 80% typically never go to apply for any type of business financing. 20% only try and apply for some sort of business financing. And the ones that don't get business financing are the ones that everybody hears of because they, it's a big catastrophe and, they make a bunch of social media posts and, it's not a positive experience. And so unfortunately, that's where a lot of news and media and posts get made and things get shared. But if, the reality of when these funds do get dispersed and what it means to these communities, the employees, the businesses, the, all the supply chain, there's so many other factors that come into that. So again, that's why we help with the pitch deck, the financing plan, and try and show the next 1 to 5 years of what this business might do and what that might mean for the community as well as the staff. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, I'm already thinking about.
It's hopefully a valuable conversation for the people that we work with, and hopefully they see that value because it is unique.
Yeah, I can already think of one company I would like to introduce to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Straight away. Yeah, and I'm a
sure
shareholder
a few. Yeah, YP has been very successful with his endeavors over the year. It's an honor to be even speaking with you right now.
Thank you.
It's a blast.
So Michael, earlier on you said that there are varying quantum of loan that the financial institutions are willing to lend, different term of the loan, and also the interest rates. So what are the ballpark figures that you're seeing across the different financial institutions? Yeah.
So domestically here in the United States, we see a lot of business commercial loans from $2 million to say maybe $250 million. We have quoted a few larger green energy, renewable energy projects. Some of those range, multiple billions of dollars. And so we've been able to quote a lot of unique projects that some firms cannot, again, due to the size of the network and the relationships we have. So it's a unique offering. And again, we're trying to get us known because we're new to the space. And when I built this, I wanted to show up with an extreme amount of value, kind of the red carpet experience for the customers, but also the partners that I'm working with. I'm utilizing their skill sets, their staff, their teams, their expertise to be the handoff. I have to trust and put an extreme amount of love and appreciation and respect into those relationships, as well as the customer to the lender relationship. That's a big part of why I'm doing this. Is it's an extremely intimidating, maybe scary. A lot of people don't have the confidence to even come and talk to a banker because it's intimidating to speak about how much money you've made. And, you assume that this banker talks to billions of dollars and huge projects and huge businesses all day, but they're really there to meet with the startups, the small businesses. They're really there to be the resource. And, that's the partners we work with. They're very down to earth, but they're also extremely successful. These people have been doing their skill set, their passion for 10, 15, 20, 30, longer than I've even been alive. And so they saw me show up with this idea, this concept, this business model, and they're like, boy, if you can build it and do it, we will work with you. And here we are. So it's, I'm just trying to be a resource to the economy.
Okay. So, Michael, you mentioned about the quantum of the loans available, and I think you said from about 2 million onwards to a few hundred million. Yes. So that's the what do you call that, the range.
A big range.
Yeah. What about in terms of how short would the loans normally be? To what would the maximum loan period be, and what are the typical interest rates? Just some ballpark figures. Yeah.
We see 6 months up to 15, 20 years, again, depending on the product and if it's collateralized or uncollateralized. For interest rates, internationally, we see 4 to 10%. And that is depending on the customer, the product, and then the lender. So again, it's a lot of firms we manage, but that's what I see in a month, 4 to 10% typically.
I just want to be clear, okay? It's 4 to 10% per what?
Per annum.
Per annum, okay, which is really fair, isn't it?
Not monthly.
Yeah, maybe we've seen those
Annual
crazy,
interest.
like you say, predators out there that does a couple of percent per month.
Nope. It's annual. So it's again, a lot of people, they think it's too good to be true in a lot of ways. And, I'm young and, they want to test it a little bit. And so we go through the process and they see it's quite the experience. So,
okay. Yeah. Maybe you need to grow a beard. Just kidding.
I know. And I'm trying, trying to get this hair gray, but it's taken a time. Well, it's taken a while.
So Michael, you said something very interesting there. People believe I'm saying 3 dots after that. So what are common misconceptions or myth that business owners have about all these lenders or financial institutions?
They think
that make them afraid, I guess, to go and approach people like you. Yeah. What are the biggest myths or misconceptions?
They assume they need to make more money. But in reality, it's not about how much you make, it's how long you've been in business and if you can show that business growth from 1, 5, 10, however long you've been doing it. So our lenders, they're really looking at the story of the business, the success, the growth. They're analyzing these things. I'm not the analyst on, this, but this is the feedback that I'm seeing. So they're looking at so many little indicators, and the more you can show of that story, the length of time, what you do, any of your financial history, that stuff really makes an impact in the lender's eye. So they see that you're organized, you've got your accounts receivable, your payroll, your income, your profit and loss, your, whatever you've got your business set up and structured as. And so they're able to look at these documents and very quickly analyze whether they're able to assist these firms. And hopefully it's a less stressful process. And, again, these people treat these folks like they're, their own family. and it's a
Okay.
very nice experience. So
Okay. That's very comforting to hear, isn't it? Yeah. Because
it was
I'm sure that
intimidating
many
making
of us
phone
will have
calls.
seen, yeah, we've seen enough movies where they portray the bankers as somebody cold, chisel face.
Yeah, I mean,
No
it really
sympathy
depends.
about the hardships business owners go through. Yeah.
Mhm. It really depends, but I would say 99% of the people we work with are absolutely amazing folks. So
Mm.
all of their employees, all of their staff, no matter what they do. So
Mm.
it's pretty impressive. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And I would say to the listeners out there, one of my biggest takeaway, from this session is that I wouldn't want to go and start, banging my head against all the different walls, trying to find an opening. I'll just come and see an expert who has already done all the homework for me, and find what's the best lending institution that will help me fulfill my needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael, I'm sure that there'll be other people like me who could be interested or would be interested to find out a bit more about what you do. So what's the best way to do that?
Mainly our website. It's just www.nogginfinance.com. And there's our commercial and business loan page.
Okay. So ladies
But
and gentlemen,
nogginfinance.com, and you're there.
okay. So yeah, if you're interested to find out more and see how Michael can help you, and this is the link, copy it down or take a picture of it and then go knocking on Michael's door, right? So
Give us a
Michael,
call.
as we come to the 30-minute mark, what would be your final advice or final tip to the business owners out there who is now trying to, pivot their business in 2023, to 2x, 3x, 10x their business? What would be your advice for them?
Try and have as much fun as you can. Spend as much time with your employees and get to know their interests, their skill sets, and their passions in their work, and try and utilize them more so in this growth pattern. So whether you want to do 1x, 2x, 5x, or 10x, find the people in-house, because if you're able to find the motivations and passions, you're usually able to not have to hire as many people if you spend the time. I would say that also a strong marketing plan, advertising, trying to find additional funnels for new types of clients and ongoing recurring clients is going to be crucial, pandemic or not. And then, yeah, I would say, if you ever do come across needing access to funding, think of how you can try and keep more cash on hand and consider a business loan to help scale your business.
Right. Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being, for joining us, on this Ask YP Now live show. As a token of saying thanks to you, Michael and me have got a gift for you. I've actually written a book, called 10 Proven Strategies to Work Less and More. And this book is available on Amazon.com for sale. But don't worry, I'm not asking you to go to Amazon to go buy my book. I'm going to give you a free copy. Okay. So, take a picture of this link here, you have to take a picture of this link here. I'm going to put it into the chat later on. Go and download a copy of this book, because I believe every one of us, we want to work less and earn more. And with this, can we, Michael, wave bye-bye to everybody and wish you a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Bye.
Thank you, YP.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.